Yeah. So maybe Gopal can go ahead, knowing you and your
All
background.
right. Hi, guys. My name is Gopal, and I have been. Am I audible? Is there like? Can you hear me? Okay, great. I have been a movement practitioner and a contemporary mover. Uh, I've been doing this for the last 15 years, and my major component of movement relies on two major things. The one is the fundamental unit of the body, which is the spiraling action and the spirals that exist in the microorganism that is us, and the macroorganism, which is the universe. And so I play a lot around those lines. And the second component of my movement, which I use very frequently. Sankalp knows, and people who know me, they know that, and that is improvisation and its tools. So there is a lot of improvisational movement. There is a lot of in the moment, movement and guided creations that allow us to kind of follow our instinctual processes and give that kind of a direction to the body. So yeah, these are the two things that I particularly incorporate in my movement and in my teaching and in my dance pedagogy. And yeah, that's about it. And what I'm looking forward to with Abhyasa is, one, a change in environment and how the environmental senses impact the body and the mind, and how do we channelize that into movement. I've seen Vinyasa, shape up from when it was being shaped up to what it is now today, and the beautiful entity that it is. And I can't wait to kind of play around with what there is at Vinyasa as a setup, and how that impacts our body and mind, and our senses, and how do we channelize that into movement. So that would be my major looking forward to at Abhyasa. So yeah.
Thank you, Gopal.
Shall I
Jainil?
pick it up?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Yes,
Okay.
Mikhail, please.
So my name is Mikkel, and I am originally from Belgium. I live in Germany, and I am, let's say, professional performer, choreographer. And I actually find myself in a transition from performing from the stage towards filmmaking. So I've been working with the medium of dance, film, and filmmaking for a few years now, and it's just totally takes my interest, and I'm just fully invested in it. So what I propose for Abhyasa, it's a workshop format that I have developed through the years, which combines, approach from contemporary dancing, choreographing, and also thinking, and the cinematography. So we probably all have been in that situation of like, okay, let's make a dance video, and also dancers love to film themselves, and it has a great, potential. But what I propose is a bit more of this idea of like, okay, let's just take one step back and really understand, how to perform for the camera. What does it mean to dance for the camera, knowing that whatever you choreograph or you perform will be captured? And from the other perspective, how to film dance and how to use the camera to capture, details, maybe this idea of 360 degrees around body movements and, all what the camera can do, like distance and close-ups, and camera can go upside down and all these crazy things. So we usually start very playfully, we just experiment with cameras, and I also like to go outside. We usually also leave the studios and just explore a bit the nature, and that's also a great opportunity to see also what does it mean when you suddenly are in an environment. How does the environment affect your movement? And then adding to that the camera. So we have an environment, dancing body, and then the camera. And with these three elements, how can we choreograph and write and play with these things? And so after maybe some playing times, then we would get back to ourselves and then maybe develop a small concept for a dance film. So and the idea is that each of us managed to produce a dance film during the whole Abhyasa. So from the beginning to the end, I will take everyone through the different phases of the production of a short dance film, from the first idea to making a concept to what needs to be prepared, what needs to be rehearsed, to finding a location, to look at camera, movement, camera positions, and then shooting it, and then also the editing. As I know for everyone, it's always exciting, the editing process. So that's, the one moment also where things come together and can be really crafted and magically, redirected, let's say. So yeah, my idea, my proposal is really to take you through all these phases and then do that either collectively or individually, depending a bit who is there and what are the interests. And the idea for Abhyaasa also, we had the idea of having dancers, actors, and camera people brought together. So I would also be very interested at facilitating also communication and dialogue between camera people, let's say, and maybe performers. What does such a dance film project need in terms of communication? How does a dancer talk to a camera person? Or what does a camera person need to know from a dancer, for example? So all these things will be practiced and proposed and explored.
That's amazing, Mikhail. Thank you. You want to go ahead, Jainil, talk about yourself and your journey and what you're offering in Abhyasa?
Yeah, for sure. Hi, my name is Jainil, and I am originally from Mumbai, but I live in the US right now, and I'll be coming during that time during Abhyasa. So I'm really excited. I started dancing very early on, and my movement style is mainly contemporary, but I sort of fuse a lot of my Indian classical and Indian folk training. Um, I've done a lot of work with camera as well. So for music videos, so I would possibly be someone who would help in also like the commercial aspect of just movement, as well as I've been just doing a lot of stuff with editing, and I'm really excited to see what we come up with during Abhyasa, and how we play around, how we communicate with other artists. And I think for me also, it's going to be a time for learning along with all the other mentors and all the other students that are going to be there. It's just going to be a lot of play, and there are a lot of improvisation techniques that I use in terms of my movement, and a lot of the stuff derives from nature, from my travel experiences, my stories. It's it's sort of like a storytelling sort of thing that I use to have to sort of like inspire movement, um and yeah, I think it's just going to be a journey of storytelling and experiences.
Now, I think I can also introduce myself. uh, my name is Sankalp. I've been a dancer for over 15 years now. I've been dancing. I started my journey as a hip hop dancer, got into contemporary dancing, inspired by beautiful dancers in Terence Lewis, where I studied from. And then I moved my journey to New York City. I trained under Martha Graham Company, and then Perry Dance Capizio Center. Other than that, I've been learning throughout my journey from last 15-20 years that I've been dancing, not in schools, but also outside schools. Uh, with dancers I've danced with, the students I've taught. Uh, and lately I've been very much interested with this idea of dancing for the camera. So I've been learning and understanding all those aspects from Mikhail himself. And we did organize this screen dance retreat last year at Vinyasa only, which was under Abhyasa. And we worked with bunch of non-dancers, which was again like a challenge for me and Mikhail, but it came out so beautifully. It was such a beautiful experience because the whole journey became two-way. We were getting to learn so much from the participants. They were throwing so much of challenges to us that made us feel that how beautiful it is to work with different sort of artists and not just dancers themselves. And that only inspired us to open our canvas, open ourselves and mindset more for this year, and to work with different artists, and how can we learn in the whole process, and not just share the information that we have, but also get information from every single participants has to offer. And with that, we curated this whole program this year, Abhyasa, where we are bringing theater artists, dancers, and filmmakers all together in one space, logged for 10 days, uh, and just given the whole space to create. So, just telling you how a day would be like in Abhyasa. So we will be starting our days early at 7 a.m. with bit of stretching, yoga, catching up with our breath and body, understanding who we are internally. And then we will be understanding also different movement vocabularies. Now, when I say different movement vocabularies, I also want you to know that even though we are all contemporary dancers, but we have much more to offer than contemporary dancing. And I believe uh, this program is not restricted to contemporary dancers. And that was also one big reason to have Janil for this uh, edition, because he does understand the the idea of fusing different techniques, different movement vocabularies, different kind of uh, uh, understanding of different dance forms. And of course, Gopal and me, we will be majorly working on contemporary dancing and the whole idea of understanding the body internally. So I personally work with the idea of going inside and learn from the body and then bring it out there. So that's what I will be working on. So the first half of the day from 7 a.m. till 1 p.m., we will only be exploring our bodies, understanding different movements. Of course, working with Mikhail on understanding movement of the camera, the dance of the camera. And then the second half would be more about you guys working with each other as participants, exploring different aspects of creating uh, a film or a performance, both. Not actually, or there is going to be both. So creating a film and a performance, uh, collaborating with one or more filmmakers, one or more theater artists, and one or more dancers together. And for that, you actually do not restrict yourself into the studio. So Vinyasa basically is a 6,000 square yard big property. And beyond the property, we have beautiful farms and jungles and landscapes where you will be going and exploring yourself, uh, getting inspired by different spaces. And while you are getting inspired by different artists and participants among yourself. So that is like the whole idea of what I will be doing, what Abhyasa is all about, and what we all will be doing. Now, after the dinner, we will be sitting together. We will be watching films with Mikhail, understanding how the movement have been captured on the camera and what different techniques and angles have been used. Uh, how body has been used to tell a story more than just the face. Uh, and how can we have like a good conversation using our bodies, and how body can speak. And when I talk from the Ilya side, then she will be again using a lot of elements of uh, theater and elements of stage to understand how this conversation can happen even more smoothly, for the body to speak and for other bodies to listen and speak again. So just the conversations through the bodies. Me and Ilya, we have danced together in New York City for over 2.5 years. And this is her first time coming to India. And I have seen Ilya growing as this amazing, beautiful artist, not just as a dancer, but also as a performer, also as a theater artist, also as a human being. She has so much of understanding, knowledge that she's very excited to share. And she also said that she's very excited to learn from each one of us, uh, as in the participants and the mentors too. Yeah, that's more about it. Now, if you guys have questions, thoughts, please feel free to share.
Perfect.
And
So just before we move to the questions, we have Abhishek and Sanana joined in. Hey, Abhishek and Sanana. Hope you guys are doing good. It would be great if you could, probably just introduce, let us know where you're coming from and what is your background, and just help us set the context. Sanana, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I can introduce myself and I'll turn my camera on for a second. My name is Sunaina. I am a bit of a nomad currently, but I'm right now in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the US. And this is near where I grew up as well. I am primarily a Kuchipudi dancer, so classical Indian dance. And then I've also trained in a little bit of contemporary and modern and some ballet in service of that, but not necessarily in a focused way as well. And in terms of Kuchipudi, I've had two primary teachers who I continue to work with to refine my art and continue expanding my knowledge in that sense. And in terms of contemporary and modern, I've trained a lot in New York as well. I'm familiar with the Martha Graham School, and my favorite studio there is the Pear Dance and Give Me studio. So I love dancing there quite a bit. And I also started my first introduction. I don't know if y'all are familiar at all with Mukta and Ashish. They're based in Mumbai, but when I first was exploring contemporary and modern, I danced a little bit with them, and it was a great introduction to all of it. Though I did it virtually, so that's kind of a little bit about me in terms of dance and creation. And when I saw this program. It caught my interest. I am kind of in a weird spot right now because I'm recovering from an injury or a set of injuries. And so I was like, this sounds interesting. I'm in a weird spot right now. I want to find out more and see what this might be.
Nice. Perfect. Hope you recover soon. And we have a beautiful show on September. But yeah, hope the injury was not very bad, and fingers crossed, touch wood, you get soon better. Yep. Yeah, let's move to Abhishek. Abhishek, do we have you? Guess not. No worries. So I mean, let's open up the ground, Ritika, Nana, Abhishek. You have any specific questions about Abhyasa, about anything related to the program, related to the art form, related to the collaboration or innovating through merging art forms? Ground is open. We have all the mentors. Shoot.
I guess I'll ask the question. So obviously all of y'all are super experienced. You just mentioned, you've been dancing for 15 years. And I know the rest of y'all are also very established and experienced. Is that kind of what you're looking for in terms of the folks who participate as well? Because I don't think for myself, I consider myself pretty early stage and not as established or experienced in the same way. So I guess I was curious about that specifically.
Okay, I'm going to try taking that, but then I'll, of course, let one of the mentors take over it. From what I understand, Abhyasa as a program, it's towards an artist residency, so it's a residential form of learning, right? So we are not really looking, I mean, of course, if you have professionals, that's great, but what we're looking for is some sort of commitment to art, and the curiosity and the openness to learn, explore, innovate, right? So when it comes to having the experience, it does not, it matters, but for Abhyasa, I don't believe it carries a lot of weight. What we're really looking forward is for the intent, for the curiosity or the want to learn, and openness to exploration of other art forms for this specific edition of Abhyasa. Does that answer your question for now? Maybe, Mikhail, you want to add on something?
I think you said it all, Abhishek. It's that just be curious, being open, and being, willing to also to spend 10 days, not 24 hours a day, but still he has this idea of also a community experience where we'll be spending a lot of time together, getting up early and going for walks, and then so that has also added to the work of yours. But otherwise, yes, as you say, technique or experience is not the most needed in what we plan to do, but it's more this aspect of coming together and sharing actually knowledge and learning from each other. And we are all experienced mentors, obviously, but the idea is that also, we are enjoying transmitting and in passing on, and then also I love to be, inspired and surprised by participants. With no one knows everything, and it's a beautiful playground to experiment and to learn. Yes.
Maybe we can have like a conversation among ourselves about the whole idea of Abhyasa and the journey of these 10 days and what we are offering, and how I would say let's start with how important it is to bring these different art forms together and what is the takeaway that anyone can expect. Uh, so we can share our point of views, each one of us.
All right. So I think what's important here is, uh, you know, like you said about the level, like, you are a beginner, or you are just starting off, or you're just new to this kind of exposure. I think what is important here is that carrying that sense of vulnerability, and that sense of letting yourself be affected by what the environment is around, and taking that all in, and you know seeing where does that kind of vulnerability take you. We all live in our in our respective silos, in our respective places, but when there is a change in environment, the change in people, the change in the surroundings, how does that impact our mindset, our body, our movement? I think that is of a lot of interest to me for Abhyasa. And speaking about different influences, like for example the camera, or different movement vocabularies, and all of that coming together, I think it's all of that, and along with that a new kind of a environment as well, that itself is another element altogether when Abhyasa comes into picture. So I think that's very interesting. So yes, there is a camera, yes, there is there are different movement forms that are happening, there are different people that we're going to meet, but more than that, the space itself is a separate identity as well, which is participating in Abhyasa. So I feel that it's not just the dancers and the mentors and the dance forms, but also the space itself that is an active participant in the entire program, and that is something that is very exciting for me. So, and it's very important to kind of take a beat from where we are at this point of time, your respective places, and kind of come together for a common interest of exploration, and a common interest of where does this journey take us when we are together in it. So I think that's very that's of a there's a lot of curiosity as to where it's going to lead us. And I think that's the beauty of it, that you become more brave, you become more courageous, at the same time you are willing to put yourself out there, uh, to let it take you wherever it takes us. So yeah, that's something that I'm very, very excited about and looking forward to for Abhyasa.
And I think, just going off of Gopal, um, as he said, the space is an active participant. For me personally, I was introduced to Vinyasa a year or 2 years ago. I think I was introduced when it was actually building, and then when I experienced it, it was at a time when I was stuck, and I just did not know where I was heading. And I think as an artist, as a creator, as someone who's just in the arts, Vinyasa is a space which has a lot of space, and literally in terms of that you do get that uh, that time and that the beauty to help you move forward in whichever way, whichever direction you'd like to go in. um, and actually just just being in that space itself is so positive. um, and you never know what can come out of just being in the space. And the and actually the time when I went, I was just alone with Sankalp and a few others. But this time when you are when you would be coming, it would be with so many other creators and so many other artists who have their different levels of expertise and experience. So it would just be so nice to actually, communicate in their languages and see and just hear from, everyone.
Yes, so basically, once again, the space, the space, the space. This Abhyasa is taking place in Vinyasa, and as we all, talk from experience we had, it is the one, impactful, element of this Abhyasa, format is that it takes place there. And the few times I've been there, 3, 4 times, for whatever project, it's always a similar a journey of, discovering the space, getting acquainted with the space. And there's a parallel journey that happens within yourself as well. So it's an interesting part that, you being confronted to the space, but you're also being very inspired by the space. And there is this kind of a dialogue that happens between yourself and the surrounding. And it's something that we all share on different levels and on different perspectives, but that's a common experience that is already given. And that makes always, whatever formats or courses I've been doing there, like so strong because it's a lived experience and it's something unusual. You don't, I don't know about everyone else, but I don't go to these kind of places, and it's very raw, and it's very pure, and it's very inspiring as well. So that is the one thing I can add to the space, the space, the space, the space. Of course, there will be classes, there will be sessions, there will be working on dance technique and all these things, but we can't not mention the environment, which is very strong, very special, full of love, full of care, full of colors, full of lights.
Some of it you can see. I'm currently there, uh, sitting here, getting inspired. Each day is so different. Uh, each day is so inspiring. Even though we all get to see sunsets from different part of the country, but not just saying because I've built it, but because I've seen how beautiful every single sunset here is, every single moonrise here is, and how they have inspired me uh, to create every single day. Um,
Beautiful.
yeah, I don't think I can speak more about the space.
Nice. There's one thing like we did hear about, space adding value to the kind of learning, but if you could also shed some light on the difference between studio class learning versus a residential form of learning, right, where the time itself is an aspect. How does that differ? How does that add value?
Yes, so the residency formats, we all are clear about the concept, but actually experiencing it's very strong. Basically, it's you taking yourself out of your everyday, environment. Also, that's step number one. It's before you arrive to a place. It's living what you are, used to in your everyday routine, and be, ready to, to put yourself with a new situation. So that already does something to, to how you function and how you work and how you create and how you respond. And the resident format did Abhyasa also has to do with the group, with the community. So you are actually, like I said, we're going to be, eating together, going for walks and looking at stars all together for 10 days. And that does create also a very magical dynamic. So, we can imagine what the group goes through in such an experience. And yes, so that is the thing. And also the studio, working in a studio is great, and then working at Abhyaasa, it's just a different experience. There's not good or bad. It's just suddenly you are in a studio and there are no doors and there are no walls, and you look out and you see the horizon, and that that does impact how you move and how you see yourself and how you see the others. So that is a very strong aspect of not being in a black box dance studio, but suddenly you out there. And it takes a lot of concentration, because you do get distracted, you do get like. So how do you actually also deal with that, and how do you collect all of this and with that work and create and explore?
Residency dance formats, residency formats, they bring a lot of discipline also. It's it's a commitment that you make with yourself while you are away from your home, but it also brings a lot of comfort. I believe one big reason of me building Vinyasa was that I never wanted to commute. I never wanted to worry about the kind of food that I'm going to eat, because I do not like cooking. I tried cooking, but hey, I hate it. I don't want to cook myself. So, I hated commuting. I hated cooking. These two C's have inspired me to build the whole space. So once you are here, you are only, dedicated to your art form. You're only dancing, learning, training, exploring, experimenting, and that's the kind of uh, advantage you get when you are in a residential space. Not just here, but anywhere you go and you become part of a residency, because now you are living with the similar mindset of the people. Uh, you are in one space. That means you are coming out of your room and you are entering a creative space itself. So all these aspects, they add up to your learning. I remember, if I was literally I was literally traveling 4 hours a day, 2 hours going to the school and 2 hours coming back. I lived in Queens, Richmond Hill. So from Richmond Hill to Bethune Street, Martha Graham School was like almost quarter to 2 hours journey, and then coming back in the night was another 2 hours. So 4 hours I was, and not just 4 hours of time, but also the kind of energy that I was putting into traveling was going away just in traveling, that could have used in dancing, or maybe just rejuvenating myself, and not uh, traveling. Could be resting, could be watching a film, anything that is not taking my energy into travel, that could have enhanced my learning experience. So that's the kind of advantage a residential process gives you. You are in one space, you are eating healthy food, you are not cooking yourself, your bed is there to sleep. You just have to get out of it, and you are just dancing or acting or creating or filming something, anything that you are here for. So that's why I believe residential programs are important.
Right. I guess, yeah, I mean, having mentors from three major domains of art forms: dance, filmmaking, and theater artists, right? Physical theater, a residential space, and that's close to nature. To add to that, it's just innovating, I mean, collaborating. I guess it's a good package. Now, when I hear it back again, it just sounds really a lot more. um, so, yeah, I guess that's it.
You can always reach out to us and ask your questions. But thoughts you can share, both of you, Sunana, Ritika, uh, before we close this.
I am really liking this particular platform that you created for for the artists, for people who are actually pursuing movements, dance, or maybe acting. It's a great thing. It's a great concept for everyone who is in this field, because it takes it consumes a lot of energy when you are learning it just for 2 hours or 1 hours and going somewhere else from your home, like Sankalp said about the distance and all. You just give a lot of energy into the distance part, and the main part is just for 1 hour or maybe 2 hours. So this is a beautiful concept wherein you can just consume all that energy into that thing that you really are into. So I really like that concept. Thank you for having me here.
Thanks, Ritika. Yeah, Sunana, please.
Yeah, I was gonna say similar. It sounds super impactful for having a space that you're co-creating essentially. Like you have your physical space, but then you're co-creating this creative space with everyone who's involved, which just sounds so impactful, I think, especially for me, through COVID, everything was virtual, everyone was shut off into their own homes or spaces, and it feels like a lot of that has followed, and there's a lot of flexibility and freedom and whatnot you can get from that, but also it feels like you have to be so much more intentional about working with people in person and actually having that space where not even just working, but just building those relationships and communication and everything in such a different way than when you're staring at a screen and talking or dancing or whatever it is. So that kind of resonated and hit for me. And I was curious, I guess, in relation to that, it sounds like this is the maybe second or third edition of Abhyasa. And I was curious, fourth, amazing. I was curious what choices have kind of stayed the same going into this edition versus what maybe intentionally has been different or changed for the space that y'all are looking to create.
So every single abhyasa that we have done, it's more not just more about learning dance, but also about learning different different art forms and getting inspired by different artists. So even the first two abhyasas that we did in 2022, we had sculpting and clay modeling as one of the choices of collaborating with your dance movement. But of course, we were not bringing uh, artists or artisans who do it, but rather teaching it to the dancers so that they get one another space for themselves to find their creativity and understanding how the different kind of textures feel, and how can you implement those textures when you are moving, because we talk about textures and different textures into our movement. And then I get these questions: what do you mean when you say texture in dance? So just like another aspect to add to that, uh, the first two were about uh, bringing sculpting and dancing together. But then I met Mikhail in 2022, I think Feb February or March somewhere. He had come to Vinyasa, and that's when I got to know about screen dance. And since forever, since I think COVID only, I would say, I'm seeing a lot of dancing on this on social media, and that also makes me think that wow, we have so much to offer now. The audience is everywhere, literally sitting anywhere in the world with their phones. It's like an amazing tool if we have the knowledge of camera and how it works as we are dancers. If we create such amazing content, it can reach to so many people. And uh, that's when Mikhail told me about screen dance. I got to see his work and I was like, wow, Mikhail, I want to learn it. And I think if I want to learn it, I'm sure there are so many other people who really want to learn it and can get so much out of it. That's when we introduced screen dance, and here as part of Abhyasa. And then this year we wanted to open up more and learn from. So I will tell you how I work. It's for me, every single Abhyasa that we have done, uh, I actually organize those for myself to learn first, and then also how it can bring impact to all the other dancers or participants like me. So just like I always say, I build vinyasa for myself first, and then I offered it to the world. It's just like that. I always found interests in different things, and I felt if I have interests in something like this, then I'm sure other people are there like who are like me or who would find interest in something like this too. So this time, I wanted to learn so much from theater artists because they have such beautiful understanding of stage. They have such beautiful understanding of their bodies and how they communicate with their body language and with their expressions, as well as with their uh, speech, with their dialogues. It has always been so amazing for me to watch, and I got a chance to perform a physical theater performance when I was in New York under Matthew James, who teaches at Peridance Capizia Center. So that's where I also got to learn uh, how stage is formed for theater artists. So while you are speaking, you are also moving and you're dancing. It was an amazing experience for me, and I felt how amazing it would be to share it with so many other people who can get something out of it. So this has been like the journey of Abhyasa. This has been the journey of me, and why I'm keep doing it. And Abhyasa itself means practice, right? So every single Abhyasa is also about practicing what we preach, what we learn, what we uh, offer, and keep offering it again and again. So yeah, that's like, I don't know if I answered your question, but I just said so many different things at once.
No, that's very cool to hear. It's cool to hear kind of what has inspired you in your own journey to want to create this space and share it with others as well. And the piece about, I think, acting specifically is very interesting to me because in Kuchipudi, in classical dance, there's a lot of storytelling, and the essence of
Yes.
Kuchipudi is storytelling. So I think recently I've been looking as inspiration in terms of my friends who are actors or do theater. There's kind of
Yeah.
different frameworks and perspectives to approach it. And then Kuchipudi itself has its own like frameworks and perspectives, but it kind of all combines back into the sort of truthful expression coming from yourself, and there's many different ways to find it, and then adding this dynamic with the screen and how you interplay with that and how you shape probably all of it, the movement and the expressing and everything in interplay with how you're interacting with camera. It just sounds great. Sounds super cool.
Yeah, it would be so amazing to learn bit of Kuchipudi from you, just to understand how how beautifully and how differently the body moves just from contemporary dancing to Kuchipudi. It would be amazing to how we can to see how we can fuse it and create something mind blowing out of it.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that's it for this session. We will be uploading the recording and sharing the recording again. It will be accessible definitely until the Abhyasa, fourth edition of Abhyasa, and we'll internally discuss if you want to keep it private or public. And accordingly, it will be available. Apart from that, just a reminder that the intention behind having this Q&A session right now was because the early bird ends on 3rd of August,
August.
and if we have people, we do have people coming from outside India. So if there is anything with regards to visa process, we could get started with that. That was the only intention, to have it very much early than the event, which is 23rd of September to 2nd of October. uh, we will be connected. You can always shoot any queries on the website or the email ID vinyasa.ashram@gmail.com, and we'll make sure you get a reply ASAP. That's it from our end.
I would like to thank the fellow mentors, Mikhail, Gopal, Janil, for bring out some time. Uh, I know, Gopal, you are in Vienna. I know, Mikhail, you are in Turkey. Janil, you are in New York. We are talking from 4 different time zones currently. Uh, so I'm really, really thankful for you guys to bring out some time and join us. The whole session was a beautiful catch up with three of you as well. And